And the final piece of news I want to talk about before we get into the Raw results is it was announced today. Bleacher Report actually announced the news. WWE confirmed it, and that is Vader is finally going into the WWE Hall of Fame. This is awesome news. They ran a little piece for him on Monday Night Raw tonight, which was great. And I really hate to be negative or bitter or anything like that, but some of these inductions, when they get announced, it's a little bit frustrating because this is 15 years too late. You know, Vader was even politicking for it when he was still alive after he was dealing with those heart surgeries, and he was on Twitter. He's like, I'd like to go in the Hall of Fame before I die. Crickets. WWE fucking ignored him completely. You know, now it's been a few years since his death, and now they've decided to put him in. And I feel like there's been a few wrestlers like that just went in too late. The other big one, and the one that I think bothers me the most of any of them, has got to be Macho Man Randy Savage. The fact that it took them so long to put him in, and then of all people, they have Hulk Hogan induct him, which I understand that from a mega power standpoint, but from a personal life standpoint, he ain't the guy I would have picked. And so now they're doing the same thing with Vader. Great. His career is definitely worthy of a Hall of Fame induction. His run in the early 90s, 91, 92, 93, when he was a heel like that, there is not a scarier pro wrestler alive. There's nobody that embodies what, a typical pro wrestler would look like in a casual fan's mind than Vader. Just a big, giant guy with a crazy mask who grunts and beats the hell out of you. And Vader was so good for a big guy. He was athletic. Him and Bam Bam Bigelow both. Bam Bam's another guy that's long overdue for a Hall of Fame induction. This would be a good year for Bam Bam to go in, honestly. Him and Vader both. Hopefully, he'll be one that's announced. I would like to see Rick Martel go in as well. And of course, we've all been waiting for Brian Pillman, but that's going to be tough to do with Mullet Boy over there in AEW. So don't know when he's going in either. But, Vader going in at this point, I think is just, a little bit late. And like I said on Saturday, I'm a little bit, I guess, underwhelmed with the Hall of Fame only because I know it's going to suck. The glory days of the Hall of Fame are long over, when it would be the night before WrestleMania, and it'll be this long, 5-hour ordeal with these long speeches and these memories. I loved that. I know it was torturous for the wrestlers who have to work the next day, and some of the fans even would leave early or get a little tired or bored, but a lot of it was just, so much of it was fun. Those early years of the Hall of Fame, like 05, 06, 07, all the way through 2015, 16, were some great Hall of Fames with some great inductions, great speeches, and a lot of memories. And I feel that in 2019, when they changed that set to the podium setup and Bret Hart got attacked, and then after that was the pandemic, and then last year they just had that shell of a Hall of Fame that was in the Thunderdome and taped and shitty. And this year, they're combining it with a SmackDown show because of the 2-night WrestleMania. You got TakeOver the next morning. So it feels like they're shoehorning it in. They're trying to cram it in. I'd try to do it on Thursday or something, or bump it to SummerSlam. Somebody brought that up to me on Twitter, or maybe it was on the stream last night. Maybe move the Hall of Fame to SummerSlam. I'd be perfectly okay with that. Might be a good spot for it, to be, in all honesty, just because of how big WrestleMania is. So I'm hoping that one day the Hall of Fame can get back to where it was, but I'm not really terribly excited for what we're going to see this year. Going to be cool to see Vader go in and whatever inductees they announce here in upcoming weeks, and Undertaker going in is going to be very awesome as well. But, part of me is just concerned about how the Hall of Fame is going to look. But at the end of the day, congrats Vader, long overdue, but at least he's in, because it was an absolute crime that he was not in yet. You know what I mean?